listening to Sweep the League.
Hey, this is George Iceman Gervin, and you're listening to Sweep the League Radio.
As everybody knows, it is Friday, and it's the Friday before Championship Day. Championship going on right now as we see UNLV down on Boise State. Boise State up 21-0. We got to get to these bowl games, these bowl predictions. We got to see which team's in and out. How can some teams like Miami get in? We're going to go over that. We're going to go over our picks. Actually, for the championship games, we're going to go over our NFL picks. For those of y'all that are trying to watch us on Facebook, you can only go to I Am Refocused Radio or Shemaya on the Beats, and that's going to be our Facebook link. There's not a Sweep the League Facebook right now. You can catch us definitely on YouTube. So be sure to go to YouTube, subscribe to Sweep the League TV. Also on my Twitter at Sweep the League, you can catch us there. But for right now, my Facebook is down, so we'll have to get onto that here in a little while. But let's bring on Derek Irvin. It's going to be myself. It's going to be Hall of Famer Derek Irvin here. And Derek, man, how you doing tonight on a Friday, brother?
Doing good, man. A little tired mentally and physically, but here I am. So I guess I'm all right.
How was the game?
I saw a few of them, man. They let's just say I watched today. Hey, it's basketball, so I guess the games are okay.
I hear you, man. I hear you. I wanted to ask you a quick basketball question. A lot of people online today, they were talking about the NBA today. You and I talked about it this past week. If not this past week, it was last week, where we mentioned how the game is being hard. It's harder to watch now. And a lot of the blame is being put on Steph Curry because of, consistent three-point shots, the razzle dazzle, and a lot of blame is put on him because of the way the NBA is now. Is that a fair assessment as to where the game is now? Because I've always put the blame on LeBron more than I have on Steph.
Not fair at all, because God gave everybody their own brain, and that has nothing to do with Steph Curry. The game is just headed in a bad direction. I don't blame him at all. Some people believe in analytics and some don't. I believe you take the easiest shot. I know they say 3 is better than 2, but if you're not making threes, then obviously 3 is not better than 2. So I just think differently. A lot of people talk this game, but not a lot of people seem to understand it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that part of the game, man. Steph has brought a different side of the game with his shooting, his range, and it's going to trickle down. I mean, till the next guy comes up. What was the whole commercial? Everybody like Mike. I want to be like Mike. Everybody wanted to be MJ, get into the basket, have the tongue wagging out, go from right to left. There was everything you wanted to be to MJ. LeBron came out, people played like LeBron. I mean, you play bully ball a little bit. Every generation emulates some type of player. I know me growing up, it was, the Mark Price, it was the Larry Birds, it was the Magic Johnson. They used to hate it when I would hot dog on the playground because I tried to be like Magic every now and then. But, I think as kids, we all emulate somebody. We all try to be somebody. Steph is that guy now.
But Rudy, let me say this quickly, not to cut you off, okay? Yeah. And I agree with the Magic. I agree with the LeBron, the Bird, or whoever it may be, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But you said Steph Curry.
Yeah.
So you're talking about the three-pointers.
Yeah.
How many guys you seen that shoot like Steph Curry?
Nobody.
Okay, so for any coach to expect guys on his team to shoot like Steph Curry is kind of ludicrous to me.
Exactly.
So you play according to what you have on your roster. If you don't have a Steph Curry on your roster or a few Steph Currys, it's kind of dumb to me to try to make your team play that way when you don't have guys that's capable. You're setting them up for failure is what you're doing. I go to games. You asked about these games, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to these high school games. I'm watching these guys jack up all these threes. And then guess what when the score is over, guess what the score is, Rudy? 34-28.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, common sense. 34-28, but you jacking up threes.
Yeah.
4 quarters, 34-28.
When I played over at St. Gregory's back in 7th grade and 8th grade, I mean, we were probably averaging right around 50, 60, 70 points. And I can guarantee you 9, 12 of those points came off of a 3-point shot. I mean, it was a lot of fast break. It was a lot of get to the basket. It was a lot of mid-range shots. And to me, that's where the NBA lacks a lot.
What wins, and when you watch college in the championship, did Connecticut win these last 2 years by shooting a bunch of threes?
No.
Okay. Did the Boston Celtics, they shoot a lot of threes, but they also shoot a lot of twos, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
So it's not just about the three-pointer. It's about playing smart basketball. If you give me the two-pointer and I know I can make 80% of two-pointers, how dumb would I look not to take the two-pointer? Because at the end of the day, the most points win. Not the most threes win. The most points win.
Rest in peace, Bill Walton. I used to love it when he said the team with the most points at the end of a game is going to probably be the winner. And
the reason the games I watched today, a few of them were won where they weren't won at the 3-point line. They were won at the free throw line.
Yeah.
Because you get teams in the bonus. And then you go to the free throw line. I'd rather rely on that than I would some guy who made 20% his whole career jacking up 3-pointers.
Yeah. That to me, it's a game that's got to change, man. It's definitely got to change, brother. Because the game, it's bad. I don't know if we're ever going to get back to 80s and 90s and 70s basketball. I don't know. I mean, you and I say no, but for all we know, we could. I mean,
not in my lifetime. I don't believe it, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. But I just don't believe it.
I don't either. Shout out to Tim's in here, Tim Gonzalez, and also Leha. Hey, man. MCS General Contracting. Shout out to Chris Leha and the boys over at MCS General Contracting. Best in the business. 100% backed by them. 100% backed by Sweep the League. We guarantee Chris Leha and the boys over at MCS, man. Any work they do it right. The first time, the only time you're ever going to need them is that first time. Give them a call. He says, "What's up, my guys? How we doing? How we feeling?" God is great every day. You know what, man? God is great every day. We all have stuff going on, and you know what? It's a good Lord that gets us through a lot of this stuff, man. This whole circus called life. But appreciate you joining us here and everything you do for us here at Sweep the League, Chris. Appreciate everything, man. We're talking, about the NBA, and you said it. Maybe not in our lifetime, in our generation's lifetime, that we'll see the game go back to the way it was. But can we see a minute thing? Because the center is kind of coming back a little bit. The big man play. It's weird because Spurs' success lately has been Victor in the post. We've all noticed that.
That's not rocket science to me.
Exactly. When they're winning, he's in the post. I get it. He shot 6 of 9 from 3-point range, but then he has a 1 of 9 3-point game. He's got to go into the post. So are we maybe seeing just a smidge of that 90s basketball coming up with Jokic, with Wemby in the paint? Like, I don't know why I'm struggling to just let it go, man.
That part, yes. But the reason I say no is because they're still allowing 3-4 steps. They still allowing guys to palm the ball. I mean, they've made it as easy as you can make it for these young guys. And the reason they've done that is because you notice they never talk about basketball IQ.
Yeah.
Even if you listen to the fans in the stands, a lot of people, they talk a lot. But do you ever hear basketball IQ come up?
Nope.
So
Never.
now it's just it's amazing, man. I don't like the traveling. I wish they would clean it up. I want to see the game kind of go back to where it was, but I am happy to see them start to implement the big man more. But we don't know because Joel Embiid being out, if you really look at it, he's a punisher down low.
Yeah.
You still got Giannis, but Giannis prefers going downhill.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they get back to got big fella going in the post. Keeping my fingers crossed, but hey, we'll see. Even Al Horford, where's Al Horford at 37, 38 years old? He's out at the 3-point line. Where's Brook Lopez at the 3-point line? So I'm gonna just keep my fingers crossed.
Well, I'm gonna give us a little bit of hope because you see Donovan Clingan in Portland. He's a traditional big man. He can play in the post. you've got a guy that's going to be drafted in this upcoming draft, probably late. To be honest, this guy probably will be a lottery pick by the time the draft comes. And that's Kaman Maluk out of Duke. He's 7'2". I mean, he's going to be a paint presence for the league. So I see more big guys coming up now. But yeah, I mean, it's going to take a little while longer to go. And it's kind of funny because we're bringing up the draft before we move on to some football questions here. I bring up Chris again. And I saw Chris post on X the other day about draft picks. And yeah, the Spurs have their own. They have Atlanta's, which now Atlanta's a playoff team technically in the East. And then they have the Bulls as well. So they've got 3 in the first. Now, everybody will love to package deals and trade the picks, especially if they're not going to be worth. But I'll tell Chris this much. In 2025, this draft coming up, pick 1 through 30 in that first round is gold. There is so much talent that you're going to be able to find. You're going to be able to find gems like in the second round. I mean, I'll name a couple of guys. Dylan Mitchell from Cincinnati is a guy to keep an eye on. You got Michael Ruzic, I think, is another one that you may want to keep an eye on. Shooting guard. He's out of Croatia. You know, the Spurs love those overseas guys. Andrew Carr is a power forward center for Kentucky. There's a lot of guys in that second round that you may, sneak up on. And there's one guy who is going to fall if he comes out that his dad pretty well, just like I know his dad because I saw him play. And that's Andrei Stojakovic, who's playing at California. And right now, he's around the 20 to 25 range. So I just want to shout out to Leha because you may want to keep some of these picks, if not all of them, in 2025, because a lot of these guys are everywhere. You're not going to get a superstar in every draft, but in this draft, you're going to get guys that can play right away.
You get no argument here because I think the superstar is overrated today, to be honest, to talk about superstar. I'd rather have a bunch of role players that are going to play the right way. Yeah. And they play hard the entire game as opposed to some of these superstars now who take off days and then they don't hustle back on defense, and it's a different time. So for now, to me, the role players are more important than they've ever been.
Yeah, it is. It is. And he's saying we drafted 4 guys. How's that going to work? Well, to be honest, I don't really expect the Spurs to hang on to all their draft picks in 2025. You got to make room for in case you want to get De'Aaron Fox or the possibilities of Giannis Antetokounmpo becoming
or Anthony Davis, like I've heard recently.
Yeah, Anthony Davis does one out of LA right now. So there's a lot of reasons why you may not see the Spurs draft a whole lot of these guys in this draft.
Hey, I'm looking at the main reason he wants out right now.
Oh, is that Bron?
On LeBron James.
I saw a play against Phoenix, or was it against San Antonio, where Dalton Connect passed him the ball, and it was against San Antonio. I think Victor knocked it out. Bron got so mad, but one thing that even I, who've never played in the NBA, understands, and if I was Dalton Connect, I'm looking at Bron like 2 words: floor spacing. LeBron was right next to him and Wemby. How the hell am I supposed to do a get him a pass?
He tried to throw. He wanted the bounce pass.
Right. Even at a bounce pass, you're talking about. He's
standing on the baseline, basically.
Yeah.
And he wants Dalton Connect to throw him a bounce pad, even though Wemby's arms are 9 feet long. Exactly. And he had nerve to get upset about that, even though it was his fault, and he wants to blame the rookie.
Father Time is the only undefeated player ever, and the greatest player of all time is Father Time because he never loses. It's about that time, Derek. LeBron's got to go. He's got to go. He's got to retire. And it's over with.
I don't know if retire. He might want to play another year or 2, but he hurts these guys. And I hear people a lot of times say that he makes players better. I've never believed that.
Never.
You talk to guys like Mario Chalmers, they're not going to tell you that.
Mm-mm.
And he takes guys' confidence, man. And then he's a whiner.
Yeah.
He's whining every time, unless he's turned the ball over 5 or 6 times, and he's not whining. But he has slowed down. And I've told you before, I believe, when he does score well, they lose most of those games because they playing against teams that are mediocre. Like tonight, they playing right now, they leading Atlanta by 1 point.
Yeah.
But I think it's Anthony Davis time. I've already thought it was Anthony Davis time, but we know J.J. Redick, LeBron's podcast partner, is the coach. So for me, that was failure from the beginning, but we'll see what happens as the season goes on.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was telling you guys, I don't think the JJ Redick experiment's going to be good, mainly because of what you said, because of LeBron. Him and LeBron are podcast partners, they're friends. I don't believe in the fact that you can be friends, good friends, best friends with a player on the team and be the head coach as well at that point. At that level, the NBA, to me, it doesn't work at all. It doesn't work at all.
It kills your locker room, the camaraderie, the chemistry in the locker room. Because the other guys clearly see you playing favoritism.
Yeah, and
when you're not winning, that's a problem.
It's always going to be a problem with LeBron, man. I kind of get tired of it, and I'll say what I always say, man. It is what it is, especially with LeBron. It is what it is. We can't do anything about it. One thing we can do is we can start talking about some college football. We got championship weekend coming up. We only got a couple of games. We got a couple of games going tonight. Top ranked games. You got Tulane and Army. Army all over Tulane right now, 28-7. The one that everybody's watching right now, Boise State UNLV. Winner of that gets into the CFP. Now, Boise State is up 21-0 in the third quarter. So comfortably right now, Boise State does have it. UNLV is just not showing up. It's no big deal. Boise State is that team. I do want to ask you this, though. When it comes to Boise State, everybody had Travis Hunter penciled in as the Heisman Trophy winner, except me, and I think except you too. I still don't have Travis Hunter ahead of Genty on my list. And the only reason why Travis is getting love is because of why? Colorado, Shedeur Sanders, Deion Sanders, the bright lights, and everything, the national media is stuck on Colorado. That Genty is putting up ridiculous numbers, and he's doing it without the limelight. If you put Genty on a Florida State, a SEC team, an AAC team, an ACC team, anywhere, you pretty much feel like he's your Heisman winner if he's at a bigger school. Almost guaranteed.
Cam Newton doesn't give him much credit. I listened to Cam today, and he was kind of hard on Boise State.
He also thinks he's a Hall of Famer.
Well, Cam, I feel if you take Genty off that team, they're not even a top 50 team.
No.
So you have to factor that in. Well, they should factor that in. And then I already told you, I think without Hunter, I still think Colorado's a pretty good team. So I don't know. Today, I don't know what they look at, Rudy, to be honest. I don't even know if they know. So if you just go by, if you take off Genty from that team, they're not a very competitive team, Boise State. And they're certainly not a team that you're looking at top 6 or 7 teams. So I don't know what the Heisman really means this year, or period now, because last year I didn't think the young man from LSU really deserved it. So I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know what they're looking at today.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the Heisman, you're putting up, ridiculous numbers throughout the season. Now, no disrespect at all to Travis Hunter. He's had a year. He's had a hell of a year. I kind of understand where people say he's probably number one because he plays both sides of the ball. But, okay, I get that. Genty doesn't have to play both sides of the ball.
What's Boise's record?
Yeah, Boise's 11-1, about to be 12.
Okay, so 11-1. So last year, William, what's his name? Daniels from LSU, right? With the Commanders.
Yeah.
Didn't they lose like 3 games last year?
Yeah.
And he won the Heisman. So you're looking at this young man, Genty, carrying a Boise State team. And if I'm correct, I don't know what's going to happen at the end, but wasn't Boise penciled in as one of those 4 teams that would have a first round bye?
Yeah. As long as they won.
So that sounds like to me a guy that's you have to take very serious as a Heisman Trophy winner. And Colorado does get a lot of love, notoriety because of Deion and the coach's son and Travis. I think Travis is a spectacular player, but if you look at Genty, I mean, what do you want? You want the Deion Sanders who plays on both sides of the ball, or do you want Saquon, who's doing it all for you on one side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, again, Travis had a great year. I'm going to bring up his stats right now because I do want to check out his stats. But, I mean, he had a ridiculous year. He had, let's see, 1,152 yards receiving, 92 receptions, 14 touchdowns. For a receiver, hey, man, that's NFL caliber stats right there for a good season. Now, defensively, he had some picks, pick six, I believe. So I get it. But when you compare to what Austin Genty has, I mean, over 2,000 yards rushing. I think he hit the 30 touchdown mark on the season. It's night and day when it comes to offensive production. And that's where
yards, Rudy.
I mean, I want to say he's at 2,200.
Well, I'm just saying he's over 2,000 yards. Once you hit that 2,000 yard threshold and you're 11-1, to me, in my mind, that can't be overlooked. But like I said, I don't know what the voters are looking at, and of course I like that Mr. Hunter plays on both sides of the ball. But if you look at who does the most for their team, who's more important for their team, I would think it would be Genty.
Yeah, because as of right now, without this game in play, he's at 2,288 yards, 28 touchdowns on 312 carries, Derek. Oh, my God. That's probably
almost 7 yards a carry.
Yeah, 7.3 yards a carry.
7 yards a carry, yeah.
I mean, there's no, I don't know. You're right. I have no idea what they're going to look at. And they are being predicted. Colorado's being predicted to be here at the Alamo Bowl. So we're going to see how that goes here. You are talking to Hall of Famer Derek Irvin, Rudy Campos Jr. Let's get into the couple of games that we've got to pick here for championship weekend. If I can share the right screen. Seems like I haven't done this in a while for whatever reason. Here we go, man. So again, tonight we have Army and Tulane. Army's pretty much in control there. They're pretty much out of the CFP, but ranked number 24. UNLV, Boise State. Right now you see Boise State up 21-0 on UNLV. That just kind of solidifies them as a top 4 team in the CFP. Tomorrow, we start off with Iowa State, Arizona State. Big implications here because whoever wins is in, no matter what. Whoever wins is in. More than likely, this is your 12 team. This is your 12 seed coming in right here. So I like Arizona State. They're probably one of the hottest teams in America, in the country right now. I'm going to stick with the Sun Devils because I do like what they've been doing. Iowa State, they've been on a roll as well. I mean, they're 10-2. They still have, a lot to offer, but it's Arizona State, Derek. It's the Sun Devils. I don't think I can pick against them. I'm going to take Arizona State.
Hey, Cam ripped into them too. He was really hard this morning on Boise State, Arizona State, and IU, the Indiana University.
I hate that people pick on Indiana.
He felt like those teams should not be anywhere near the college football playoffs. So basically, he's saying just pick the ones that we know, the original ones, the ones from the SEC and all of that. And I disagree. I think it's good when you have a mixture in there. I think Arizona State has earned their spot. I think Indiana has earned their spot, and you got to reward them, man. It can't be every year you go with the Ohio States and Texas and LSU and Alabama and Georgia. You go with some of these teams on the outside, you got to give them opportunity. And I think Arizona State has earned their opportunity, and I think they belong in the top 12.
All right. Who are you taking, Arizona State or Iowa State?
The Sun Devils, Arizona State.
He's taking Arizona State, and I want to remember that is the Fighting Mario Bennett's, as we're going to call them. Georgia and Texas, the rematch. So we saw what Georgia did to Texas, and it wasn't pretty, but Texas kind of made a little run in the second half. It was a little bit too late because Georgia got off to a fast start. I think Sark has probably studied that game field since the day before, after that game happened.
Yeah.
He hasn't let it go. And this is, it sucks because it's not technically neutral ground because they're playing in Atlanta. Hell, at least somebody's going to be able to play. But here's the bonus, Derek. Chick-fil-A is going to be open tomorrow in Atlanta.
Chick-fil-A open in Atlanta tomorrow, huh?
Yeah, because they have a Chick-fil-A in the Mercedes-Benz Dome, but the Falcons play on Sunday. Who the hell can open the Chick-fil-A on a Sunday? Nobody can. So finally, shout out to Chick-fil-A. It's going to be open, and I'm glad it is. I'm taking the Texas Longhorns to beat the Bulldogs and cause a little bit of controversy because that makes a 3-loss SEC team where we've already got another 3-loss SEC team we're going to talk about in a little bit, but give me the Longhorns.
Do you know that Georgia's chance of making the playoffs was higher than Texas? Even though Georgia loses tomorrow, they'll have how many losses?
3.
And they were, even with the 2 losses and the way they've looked this year, they had a 99% chance of making the playoffs. There's something wrong with that pitcher. And Texas had a 97% chance. I'm just trying to understand. I'm telling you, I don't like the favoritism, man. They're giving these guys the Kansas City Chiefs awards. I don't think it's fair. And I still don't think Alabama 24-3 Crimson Tide belong in that 12 either. I'd rather have Ole Miss in there than Alabama. If you're really looking at, I know they say Alabama won 6 games or something against top 25.
Yeah.
But if you look at how they played down the stretch, they didn't play like a team that belongs in the top 12 team. So that's what I'm factoring in. I'm not going back early in the season. I thought it was what have you done for me lately?
Yeah. You taking Texas?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna take the Longhorn. I think it's payback time, and I think they're the better team.
It is payback time. I like that. I like that there too. I think they are the better team. Sark's gonna have them ready for tomorrow against Georgia. And we got 2 late games at 7:00 kickoff for both of them. Clemson and SMU. Now this is that game here because if you're looking at Miami, everybody talked about Miami getting screwed, and I agree 100%. They got screwed bad. And this is one of those games that doesn't necessarily help Miami, but it makes a case for something here. Clemson, SMU. Clemson beats SMU. Clemson gets the automatic bid. Now, they would probably be becoming the 12th team, which would mean if Arizona State wins, Arizona State gets a bye because they're ranked higher. So what happens to Bama? You mean to tell me that SMU gets knocked out? You have a lot of analysts, Derek, that are saying if SMU loses,
they lose, they're done. Rudy.
Adios, SMU.
Even though it's not fair, if SMU loses, they're done. And if Clemson loses, who knows? They still might try to throw Clemson in there.
Exactly.
You have a coach by the name of Dabo Swinney, right?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, so it's totally unfair. So I want SMU to win that game. It's going to be tough. I'm going with SMU because I want them. That's how bad I want them to win this game.
All week I had Clemson winning. I even wrote down Clemson early. I was like, yeah, I'm Clemson. I'm taking SMU. I think they proved it, and I think because knowing that the unfairness of them not winning this game would screw them in every which way possible, they're going to do it. They're going to beat Clemson. Clemson's going to be gone from the CFP this year with no chance to get in.
Rudy?
Yo.
I have to say this, though, in all honesty, they're going to do everything they can for SMU to not win that game. You know that, right?
I have a feeling. I really have that feeling.
We're talking about money grab here. We've seen a lot of funny stuff go on. Yeah. And they do not want SMU to win that game. I'm not in football, so I can be honest about it. they're going to do everything they can to handicap SMU. So I'm picking SMU because that's who I want to win. I don't think they win the game because I think it's going to be some funny stuff that's going to happen.
You're calling it now. We need to write the time down because I want to be able to timestamp this when it does happen, and we can say, well, Derek called it yesterday on the show, because you're right. I mean, the officiating for a lot of games has been terrible all year, and it could continue here for a fact. Tim saying Clemson defenses can't tackle. He's got SMU by 10.
I hope so, Tim.
Yeah, for everything's sake, I'm taking SMU, and I hope they do end up winning. We end the college football championship week here with the Big Ten title game here. Penn State, Oregon. Now, I have no doubt in my mind I'm taking Oregon. Oregon goes, they win against Penn State. But here's the thing I'd look at too. Penn State, if they get blown out, literally just blown out of the water, they're going to have to drop somewhere.
How far?
That's the question, is how far? How far do they drop? One guy said that if they get blown out by 35 or more, then you could possibly see a Penn State team get knocked out of the CFP.
What are they going to put in? Michigan?
Well, no, because then you can say, okay, SMU has if SMU loses, they could still get in.
What about Ole Miss? You haven't mentioned Ole Miss yet. Aren't they right on the outside, on the cusp of going in at 12?
They're right there, but would you put Ole Miss over Miami? That's the other part.
Ooh, boy.
Because then they say, well, if Penn State loses by 35 or more, then Miami has the case to get in. Better team. You know, if it's about money grab, you'd rather see Cam Ward in the CFP than you would Aller for Penn State.
They don't like Miami, though. You can tell already.
You can definitely tell that.
They don't like Miami.
So this is a game where we're going to have craziness tomorrow. Let's just say
do you think that game is a blowout, Oregon and Penn State?
My gut tells me that Oregon probably wins by 30 plus.
So what? Okay, well, I have to do the hypothetical.
Okay.
If it was Oregon, Ohio State,
okay,
what would you feel about that?
Oregon, Ohio State for the title right now?
Yes.
I would say Oregon, but not by 30. Probably by 15, 18.
So you're telling me basically you think Ohio State is a much better team than Penn State?
100%. 100%. I do. I really do. I
this
think,
year, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State's not great, but they are, to me, it's one of those Penn State teams that I just haven't been impressed by Penn State.
It was one game. I'm trying to think who was against. Did the Penn State play USC this year? Wasn't it USC?
Yes, they did. They won by 3.
Yeah, they came back and won. See, they showed some resiliency for me. And that's what I wanted to see from Penn State, because we already talk about Penn State, and what's the other team that I always talk about? Is one of them usually one or the other, Penn State or Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So when Penn State played USC on the road, and they showed that resiliency, man, I gave them a lot more respect than I have in the last few years, I'll say. So I'm hoping that Oregon wins that game. You know, I like Oregon, but I think it's going to be a lot tougher than you think. I think that's going to be a game that's going to be decided in the fourth quarter.
So let me throw some scores at you right here. Now, you saw what Miami did. Miami, you know, they had some close wins. They had some come from behinds. But overall, they look like the better team. Here's Penn State. Against Bowling Green, they won 34-27. 7-point win against, you know, not so great Bowling Green team. Then they go to UCLA, they win 27-11. So again, a not great UCLA team. The USC game you mentioned, 33-30. You know, they end up losing to Ohio State. Then you go to a Minnesota game. They travel to Minnesota. They win 26-25. So that's why for me, Penn State hasn't been as impressive as a Miami squad. And that's where I'm like, man.
But is that fair? Is that fair? Because are you holding Alabama to the same standard? The Alabama that got their butts kicked by Oklahoma 24-3, and I don't think Oklahoma's any better than some of those teams you named.
Well, Penn State's better than Alabama. I'll put Penn State above Alabama all day, every day. I will do that. There's no doubt in my mind on that. But I don't know, man. It's so hard with this game.
The reason I give them credit is because all those games that you mentioned, they went down to the wire, but they won.
They won, and that's the thing.
It's to win.
Yeah,
and they got a few good wins on their record this year, or they wouldn't be in the top 4.
Well, I mean, let's quickly go down Penn State's wins: West Virginia, Bowling Green, Kent. Against a ranked Illinois team, UCLA, USC, Wisconsin, lost to Ohio State, and they beat Washington, Purdue, Minnesota, Maryland. I mean, it's okay. It's not super great, but it's okay. I don't know. I'm having a hard time convincing.
So if they were to win Oregon, you throw all that out the window, though, right?
Oh yeah, if they beat Oregon, then yeah, they're number 1.
So if they beat Oregon, are they clearly a top 4 team?
If they beat Oregon, they're number 2. Because if Texas beats Georgia, if Texas beats Georgia, they got to go to 1. Oregon would fall to 3.
Well,
there's no doubt about that.
I think they're listening to the show tonight, and you motivate them. You know, I don't want them to win, but I think they're going to give Alabama all they can. Oregon all they can handle.
What do you think the final score is? What do you think the outcome?
30-27 Oregon.
30-27 Oregon. Okay, so you got a 3-point game. I've got it 30 plus. That's a big. Vegas is loving you and I right now because they're trying to figure out the spread based off of what you and I are calling right now. So you're taking Oregon, right, for the win?
Yeah, by Oregon by field goal only though.
Oregon by field goal only. This is going to be a great.
You got to remember this now. All year I've liked Oregon, but if Oregon were playing Ohio State, who do you think I would be taking in that game to win? Not who I want to win. Who do you think I would be picking to win?
Ohio State?
Yeah, I would be picking Ohio State. So I still like Oregon, but I'm worried a little bit about a letdown. Kind of like I told you about the Detroit Lions. Sometimes I think that one more loss. You need that so you can remember how you got where you are. Yeah. And so I'm a little nervous about Oregon. It's going to be a tough one, and I hope Dan Lanning has them mentally ready. But I think it's going to be a game that goes down to it's going to be won by a field goal, no more than 7 points.
If this was Indiana versus Penn State, how would you feel?
Penn State.
You still would take Penn State?
For sure.
I think I would.
By 2 touchdowns.
Ooh, I don't know about 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns.
That, I hope we can get that in the CFP. That would be a good game to cover right there. Penn State and Indiana. That would be an awesome game. Man, that's a tough one, man. You got my mind going crazy on that one right there, because that's a tough one right there when it comes to Penn State and Indiana. I like the
Lions, man. I think they're underrated this year.
Man, I don't know, man. I'm trying to think. LeVar Arrington was the last big guy. Saquon was there too. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess, I don't know. I'm trying to convince myself that Penn State's way better than what I'm giving them credit for. But those are going to be our picks for the college football title weekend. Championship weekend is starting tomorrow. Only a few games to catch. There are other games out there, but we're also letting everybody know now that we're going to do our bowl picks. When the bowl predictions come out, we'll come out here. We'll give you our bowl prediction winners. Obviously, the Alamo Bowl, UTSA is going to be announcing their bowl. I think on December 8th is when they're going to be announcing here. So just in a couple of days, we'll find out which bowl game UTSA will be playing in. I think it might be the Independence Bowl. I'm not too sure. They might have either in New Mexico. They're probably going to be in New Mexico, Texas, or Louisiana. One of the games.
How about this? How about UTSA versus Colorado?
That would be amazing.
Man, they don't need to travel anywhere. You let them play right here against the Colorado Buffalo. To me, that's a match made in heaven.
That would be awesome. I know you and I would be at that game covering it, so we could probably talk to Dion after the game and see what Coach Prime says. You know, hey, are you going to take the Cowboys coaching job since they want to keep Mike McCarthy again? You can just go up by 35 and plant yourself in Georgia.
Well, some of the teams don't travel very well as far as the fans, right?
Yeah.
So if you take UTSA, one thing's for sure, you're going to have fans that are going to be there. Oh, and then, of course, and Colorado's people seem to travel quite well. I love to see Warren Sapp and T.O. and all those guys down here in the Alamo City going against UTSA.
That would be a pretty cool game. I don't know if it would happen, but that would be a really cool game for the Alamo Bowl. We're going to move on here to our NFL picks. We're on the last part of the segment here for Sweep the League. Hall of Famer Derek Irvin, Rudy Campos Jr. Let's get to our NFL scoreboard. So, Lions ended up winning last night, obviously, over the Packers. It was a great game. I did tell Derek earlier today that, Jared Goff kind of went down a little bit on my MVP vote for the year. I have him at number 4 right now, but nonetheless, the Lions is just a two-headed monster when it comes to Gibbs and Montgomery. It sucks, man, because they're this good right now, Derek. But if they didn't have the injuries, oh my God.
18 players out, 13 on the defensive end, and 5 offensive players are injured as we speak. 18 players, and they still won 10 games in a row.
That's going to be – I can't wait to cover next weekend's game between them and Buffalo, because that's going to be where I feel they suffer that loss that they haven't had in a while. But it'll be a good loss for them if they lose to Buffalo, because, hey, Buffalo's a tough team. But you got to get yourself refocused going into the playoffs here. We're going to hit the first game where it's the dreaded Atlanta Falcons going against one of the red-hot teams in the Minnesota Vikings over at the U.S. Bank Stadium, Minneapolis, Minnesota. First and foremost, prayers out to Randy Moss. I knew he had something going on, but now ESPN made the announcement that Randy's going to be off for a little bit here while he takes care of his health issue that he has. So prayers out to Randy Moss. And because of the fighting Randy Mosses, I'm taking Minnesota to beat the Falcons this weekend.
Yeah, prayers out to Randy. I saw him the other day with the glasses on, and he still showed up on the show. So that was big time. But in this game, I think it's going to be a tough game. But, I'm going to take the Vikings. I think they're rolling right now. Kirk Cousins against Sam Darnold. I'm going to get an edge to Sam Darnold.
Kirk making the return to Minnesota now that he signed with the Falcons. Does he throw a 5-touchdown game or a 5-interception game?
Don't forget now, he's had some of those you like that moments. So can't forget that.
He really, really has, but I hope it's not this weekend. I'm hoping the Vikings win it, even though I am a Falcons fan. I want
the Vikings to lose, sir, because I don't even want the Lions to have to sweat it. I want the Vikings to go down. I want to see that third loss.
Well, maybe the Falcons can surprise us and get that third loss for them this weekend. Who knows, man? Kirk Cousins may have had this game circled for a very long time. The Panthers and Eagles, this is something where you're thinking, there's no way Philadelphia loses this game. But, the Panthers have been playing really good lately. And Bryce Young he's been playing decent. You got these young kids in there. They're playing a little bit better. Is it enough to beat the Eagles? I don't think so, but I think it's going to be a lot closer. Right now, they're favored by 13.5. I think the Panthers are going to give them a better game than that. I am taking the Eagles, but I really, really believe the Panthers are going to play them pretty tough.
I would take the Panthers if Philadelphia didn't have what's that running back's name? Saquon Barkley. If they did, because I'm looking at Saquon in this game trying to quiet the doubters as far as the MVP. The doubters are still out there. Remember talking about Josh Allen?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see Saquon go for about 175 yards. And I'm definitely taking the Eagles.
When it comes to MVP race, I feel Jalen Hurts and the coaching staff really screw Saquon a lot with that tush push on the 1 yard line. just give it to Saquon. That adds to his touchdown totals. But I just feel like, man, okay, you've got probably the best running back in the league right now. What do you need a tush push anymore for?
He gets the Walter Payton treatment around the goal line.
Yeah.
Come on, Mike Ditka, if you don't get that man a touchdown.
Yeah, you're right on that. Browns and Steelers, an AFC North battle. Browns are in disarray. Jameis Winston can throw for 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, and
yards,
5 interceptions, all in one game. The only guy that can put a 5 for 5 game when it comes to NFL quarterbacks. Nonetheless, I'm taking the Steelers.
Rudy, have you ever heard of a game like that?
Not until
497 yards passing, but 5 interceptions. It kind of reminds you of the year he threw for what? Wasn't it 32 touchdowns and 32 interceptions? I've never heard that before. 500 yards passing, but yet he had 5 interceptions and a big pick six near the end, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, almost a pick six.
Well, almost pick six. Okay.
Yeah, he threw a pick in the end zone that I don't know what he was looking at, because there was literally 4 defenders around whoever his receiver was in the end zone. So Jameis going to James.
He gives great speeches, though.
Oh, yeah. It's great speeches, thanking everybody for being able to play in the snow, eating W's. And I'm wondering what great speech we're going to get this
Rudy,
week.
But on the serious note, he secured his job for another year. It might not be there with the Browns, but with those 497 yards, there's some team out there that'll take a chance on him.
People are talking about him being a Giant.
Well, I don't know if he'll be a starter. I don't believe he'll be a starter, but I mean, if someone, guys go down with injury, I don't know. That would be interesting for me to see him there.
Yeah, I'm taking the Steelers in this game. Who do you got?
Stop it, man. I'm taking Mike Tomlin and Russell Wilson.
It's in the contract. I have to ask you who you're taking here. Jaguars and Titans in the Battle of the Toilet Bowl this weekend. I'm going to take the Titans just because they're at home.
Isn't Trevor Lawrence out?
Yes, he is. He's out for the year.
Wow. So in that case, I have to go Titans, man. I think if they had Trevor Lawrence, I probably would be going with the Jaguars. But, yeah, I'm going to have to go with the Titans.
Both taking the Titans. Raiders and Buccaneers. Sincere McCormick pretty much signed, and he's going to play the rest of the year. UTSA zone. He's going to get a chance to showcase his skills more for the Raiders. It's just going to not be a very easy day for him this weekend. I'm taking the Buccaneers.
Are we looking at a swan song this season after the season for Antonio Pierce?
I'm going to say this. No. I think he's got one more year. I think they're going to do one more year with him.
What if they were to just fall apart these last 5 games?
Oh, man. If he can get to 4 wins, I say his job is safe. This is not going to be one of the 4 wins, so I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. Yeah, this definitely wouldn't be one of the 4 wins. The Saints and the Giants, man, I like the Giants, but I like the Saints a lot more here. Give me the Saints.
Drake May. Isn't Drake May starting?
No. Drake's on.
I'm looking at the wrong team. My wrong team.
Yeah, no, you're good.
The Patriots.
Yeah.
I'm going to go here. I'm going to go the team that started off undefeated at the beginning of the year. I think we see a resurgence of the Saints in this game.
I think so. I think the Saints get to wins number 5 this weekend. Jets and Dolphins. Man, teams that we figured would be going in opposite directions, man. We figured they'd both be having winning records. But the fighting Aaron Rodgers are still not going to fight anymore. I'm taking Miami.
You giving up on the Jets?
Yeah. I mean, I already lost my Super Bowl.
Where are they playing?
They are playing in Miami.
Oh, well, okay. That answers my question. Well, I'm definitely going with the Dolphins.
Yeah, the home team wins that one. Hey, this is a battle. I never thought in week 13, I would say, Derek, this is a true game of the week here. Seahawks and Cardinals battling for that first place over in the NFC West here. I like the Cardinals at home, Derek.
Kyler Murray. Let me see. Kyler Murray. Where did Kyler Murray go to college?
It was a daycare, was it? No. It was Oklahoma.
Let me see. Seahawks, they got a guy by the name of Geno Smith. I think in this game, man, that's a tough one, Rudy. I'm serious. I've been joking, acting silly. Oh, man. I'm gonna go with the Cardinals by what's the line right now?
The line is 2.5. Cardinals favored by 2.5.
Cardinals favored by 2.5. Man. I'm gonna go Seahawks.
Oh, you're going Seahawks?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Seahawks.
That was our first game that we're different on this weekend. Seahawks and Cardinals. Going to do it all. Bills and Rams. Can't stop the Bills, man. Josh Allen, they're playing at MVP level. Rams are going to be tough, but the Bills are tougher, and I'm taking Buffalo.
So you don't believe in Sean McVay running up and down the sideline. You don't think that's going to be enough, huh?
No, I don't.
I'm going to go with the Bills because I know they're going to try to bring their A game so they can get ready for the Lions. I'm taking the Bills.
Definitely taking the Bills. Niners and Bears, oh my. This is a game I look at, well, Brock Purdy, there's no Christian McCaffrey, there's no Jordan Mason. They're both on the injured reserve. Who's there that's left? Honestly, man, I'm going to take the Bears.
2 game managers. Let me see. 2 game managers. Has Brock Purdy proven he's a game manager?
He's managing something. I don't know if it's a game.
Now, this game is interesting because these 2 teams are 2 of the last 4 teams on the Lions schedule.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm going to go 49ers. I think they have a little more to play for. I'm going to take the 49ers.
Taking the Niners. I'm taking the Bears. And then you've got the battle. The number 1 game for me this weekend, Chargers and Chiefs. Now, it's a division classic right here. Can Harbaugh go into Arrowhead with Justin Herbert, get a win, put him to 9-4, bring the Chiefs down to 11-2, be bound 2 games in first place? I mean, you and I feel clearly probably this is one of those ref games. This feels like a ref game.
Chiefs, every game they play is a ref game. Yeah.
This one has the feeling of a ref game. I think I'm going to take the Chargers because I just feel they're probably going to jump on the Chiefs early, and it's going to be tough for the fighting referees to make a comeback. Give me the Chargers.
So tell me, as far as wow. You're looking at quarterbacks this year, and you talk about in the MVP voting, not winning the MVP.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you have Justin Herbert over Mahomes this season?
Yep. Head over heels, yeah.
And I'm gonna say I wouldn't be surprised. I'm going with the Chargers.
Taking the Chargers here. Yeah, I do definitely have Herbert. Actually, I have Herbert at number 3 on my MVP voting, which is way higher than where Patrick Mahomes is. We end on Monday night. Cowboys and Bengals in AT&T Stadium, Jerry World. Do the Cowboys finally win at home? Is it possible?
They won one.
They did. They won in Thanksgiving.
They won one at home finally.
Man, okay, so they got off the bench, got a win. But you know what, Derek? I'm taking the Bengals to win this game.
Man, after watching Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase asleep in the meeting, let me see.
They're well rested for this game.
Man, they playing at home for the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys want this game a little more. I'm going to go Cowboys.
He's going Cowboys. I'm going Bengals.
Really, the Cowboys, because they know if they lose one more game, it's done for the year. So I think they have more to play for. That's why I'm taking them.
I think it's been done since the beginning of the season.
They don't believe that. Haven't you heard Micah Parsons talking?
Oh, God, I'd rather see Micah Parsons play. If he played any better than the way he talks, then the season might be a little bit different.
I'm taking the Cowboys to win that.
He's taking the Cowboys. I'm taking the Bengals. We got three differences when it comes to NFL football. You've got the Cowboys, I got the Bengals. You got the Niners, I got the Bears. You have the Seahawks, and I have the Cardinals. When it comes to college, we are dead even on college. We picked all the games together on college that are correct. So those are going to be our picks for the weekend. Tim is saying it's over for the Cowboys. I agree with you, Tim.
It's over for the Bengals. So
yeah, well, it's over for both. Maybe this is one of those Donovan McNabb tie games where they both ended to tie in.
Rudy, but one thing for sure that the Cowboys have to play for because Mike McCarthy's not secure for the year, right?
Yeah.
Micah hasn't been signed yet.
Yeah.
So they still have something to play for. I think they have a little more to play for than the Bengals. So I think that gives them an extra edge as far as motivation. That's why I'm picking them. I don't think they're a better team. I just think they have more to play for.
But, Zach Taylor has a lot to play for, too.
Well, Zach's only one guy, though. The Cowboys supposed to be America's team. We might be looking at, hey, if they don't win this game, I'm just saying, something's going to change. Something's going to give with Steven and Jerry. So, yeah, I think the Cowboys know that this is a must-win for them. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Cowboys.
And then also one quick note before we go, Derek. Bill Belichick is having a second interview with the North Carolina
Tar Heels.
Yeah, he's scheduled for a second interview. I didn't believe it after the first one. I thought, Bill's just doing his due diligence. They're making phone calls. He's actually interested. I actually talked to a reporter in North Carolina, a buddy of mine, and she told me that the interest is really there, that the possibility of Bill Belichick coaching the North Carolina Tar Heels, in her mind, she has it at about 85% right now.
There's only two teams. Well, I'm going to take the Cowboys out because I already told you if they were to replace McCarthy, you remember who I told you would be the head coach?
Mike Vrabel. Yeah. And obviously Bill, unless he's just playing possum, I thought if Bill were to come back to the NFL, you know what team I thought he would be with? I thought it would be the Giants. Yeah, that's what I thought.
So we'll see what happens. We know Bill, man, can play coy a little bit, but he does want to coach. I wouldn't be surprised North Carolina, Bill Parcells in college. I have to see it to believe it.
Well, it'd be Bill Belichick, not Parcells.
I'm thinking we're both great ones, but for Belichick, I have to see it to believe it. I know he wants to coach again. He's got that itch, but I never thought I'd see him coaching in college as a head coach at this time in his career. So I have to see it to believe it.
My only issue is I don't know if he's, don't get me wrong, he's capable. But I don't know if he's actually capable of coaching college kids.
If he's in North Carolina, I'll tell you one coach better be looking out. Don't they have another team? What's that team called? The Carolina what?
South Carolina?
Don't they have an NFL team in Carolina?
Oh, Panthers. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of college. Yeah,
so
the Carolina
I know
Panthers.
whoever that coach better be a little nervous. I don't even want Bill in the neighborhood. So
that could be true. They could be going to Carolina to kind of coach Carolina to get ready for.
Because I don't see him going to college, man. Wow.
That's what I'm saying. You know how tough. He's like the Greg Pop of it. It's like Pop going to coach college ball. I don't think Pop can coach kids. And I'm the same way with Bill.
Remember Pop started off at Pomona Pitzer.
Yeah, but the kids these days.
Yeah, I'll just say it again. I have to see it to believe it. I'm going to wish Bill good luck on whatever choice he makes, but wow, the Tar Heels. So you get Mac Brown goes out and Bill Belichick comes in. That's wow. I have to see it before I believe it.
Well, let's see if it happens next week. I think if they do decide to do anything, it would be next week. But he's got a second interview coming. So we're going to see. Maybe my interest would be back into Carolina football. I do support Carolina football every single year, but I've lost interest. But now I'm kind of like, okay.
Rudy, how much? Now think about the pay scale.
Yeah.
And Carolina, as opposed to what he would command in the NFL.
Yeah.
Big difference because they got to bring out the Brinks truck to get him in the NFL.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so surprised about him talking about college. The big difference in them giving you like a $3 million deal as opposed to getting paid like the hard balls and those kind of guys.
Yeah.
That's why I'm interested to see what's going to happen.
That makes sense. And, the other thing, too, was it could be a recruiting thing. I mean,
didn't Gruden get $10 million? Didn't they give Gruden like a 10-year contract when he came in with the Raiders?
I think so. Something like that.
They gave him like $10 million a year, right?
Yeah.
So for Bill and the pros, that's what I would be expecting going in, that he would make 10 to 12 million. So we have to see if he's using this as leverage. And
it could be.
You said 85%. That means there's still a 15% chance that something else happens.
I think what we'll do Tuesday is we'll go into Bill Belichick's mind and see if we can figure it out, because it's hard for me to see what NFL team, other than the one you mentioned with the Panthers, it's hard for me to see which NFL team he would even go to.
Well, he's happy right now. I'll say that, though.
Oh, yeah.
You seen him riding his bike around with his girlfriend, with his 24-year-old girlfriend. So at least he's happy.
The first thing that hit me was I wonder if she was enrolled at Carolina. That's why.
Hey, I'm not going to touch that one.
And at that, we're going to let everybody go here for the weekend. We got our picks in. We'll be posting our picks over the weekend. Probably tomorrow morning I'll have them posted for college. And then Sunday morning I'll post them for the NFL. But we'll be back on Tuesday. We're not going to be back on Monday. We'll be back on Tuesday, myself and Derek Irvin. Again, Facebook-wise, you can watch it on Derek's page. You can watch it on Iron Refocused Radio and Shemaya on the Beats on Facebook. But if you want to watch the show predominantly, it's going to be on YouTube. So go to YouTube, search Sweep the League TV. You can be a subscriber on there. You can catch all of our shows. This one, Sweep Unplugged, the Best Boys podcast, everything like that. So until we come back on Tuesday, enjoy the games this weekend. It's championship weekend. We'll come back with some bowl predictions here once they get announced on Sunday. We'll have a better idea of who's going where and who's going to be in the CFP on Tuesday. We'll find everything out. We're going to cover everything for you guys. So for Hall of Famer Derek Irvin, for all the guys here at Sweep the League, it's Rudy Campos Jr. Until we sweep the league again on Tuesday, we'll see you later, Knuckleheads.
Everybody have a fantastic and safe weekend.